much,
Have a
Michael.
beautiful day, sweetheart. Bye.
Roz, okay, we've got some comments before we go to another
We
guest.
do.
Let's see who we've got here. We've got Ellen Harris is saying Roslyn is lovely.
Oh, thank you, Ellen.
Let me ask you this, Roz. Now we know your sister took the A out of her name on her own.
I did not.
The spelling? Your mom came up with this?
No, my sister was named Barbara. My sister
Right.
did that when she went into show business.
Right. And what about your name? The spelling, was this your mother's?
Nope. This is like Roslyn, Long Island. I never had an A in my name. It was always R-O-Y-N, and I'm the only one in the family without a middle name. I feel cheated.
Really?
Everybody has a middle name but me.
Did you ask your mother why you don't have a middle name?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe there wasn't. I used to try to make my own up. Rosalind Rose, Rosalind Violet. Nothing really felt right, but I felt really cheated. I felt like I wasn't loved.
Okay, who else do we hear? We have Paul Novello. Love you, Roz. You're a sweet and genuine person with great energy and a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you. I hope you're having a beautiful day today.
This one is great. This reminds me. Hey, Roz, remember my dad, Frank Taliercio? And Uncle John?
Yeah, they were with my manager, and they were a duo, and they were and I worked with them a little bit. They did some songs, and I did a couple of their songs with them on demo.
Wow.
They did some backup, and one of the Ed Sullivan shows I did where I had backup. Was it Beautiful Day? They were they were the two behind me singing, and that's who they are. That's who they are. I think Ryan is one of the sons.
Yes.
He's one of the sons. Hi, Ryan. Tell your dad I said hi.
And speaking of Ed Sullivan, you were really young. You were what, 19, 18?
18.
Wow.
February 1969 was my debut on Ed Sullivan.
I mean, that's part of television history, really.
Yeah, you think? Well, because Ed Sullivan was a part of television history.
Yeah.
So his show is being, kind of written down in history.
Yep.
And I did it the night of a big snowstorm.
Oh, geez. At least you made it there.
I had to walk to the theater from 57th and 8th, between 8th and 9th, where I was living with my mom. I had to walk to the Ed Sullivan Theater in the blizzard. My umbrella was going inside out. There were no cabs. The wind was horrifying.
But you weren't going to miss a television appearance.
Well, I couldn't. Yeah. I was scheduled. The show must go on.
That's what I say. All right. So Robin Lipman says, Rosie, you look gorgeous. This is such a treat. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, sweetheart. Thanks for coming in. Love you.
We got so many. But so now you mentioned your mom. So I want to show, we have a photo of your mom. And your mom, and your sister, which I love this picture.
You do?
I do. Do you not like it?
It's not one of the best ones we've taken. There are others that look better.
All right. Well, you'll send me another one for the next time.
But that was when I had a stack perm, and I was wearing disco pants. This was at the back lot. This was.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then this one, which I love, this just shows, I guess maybe it's 3 generations of
you. My God, yes, it is. Look at Jason with his tongue. And that's my niece Erica.
Is that Sheldon's daughter?
My brother's daughter, who is now, her kids are now in their 20s.
Wow.
College, and Haley is out there. She did some working with kids in Israel for quite several months now, and she's working with other people in North Carolina now, I think. But she's got a great thing. She's going to go back to Columbia, I think, maybe to New York to get more education. She loves working with people. She's really good-hearted. You know what? I love them that they have been brought up so well, and that they're givers. They give back to the community. It's so much to be proud of. And Jason with his voice and his good heart. They all have.
And so I will tell you, Jason was going to be on with us, but Jason had very spotty internet connection, but he loves you. And he said to me, he said, I would do anything for my Auntie Roz. So, there you go. But
for him.
Yeah, you mentioned your brother. Not a lot of people really talk about your brother, Sheldon. There you are. It's a good-looking family.
This was at the grand finale, my opening night at the grand finale in New York.
Oh, really?
1976, I think, or 77. I can't remember what year I did Saturday Night Live and what year I did the grand finale, but it's within a year of each other.
So how far apart in age was Sheldon and you?
Shelley is 17 years older than me.
That's real.
So years older than my sister.
So was he around when you were growing up as much? Because I know Barbara was living with you.
Yeah, my sister was until she left home because she graduated high school early. So she left home to go to New York, which made my mother Meshuggah. She was so worried that a child being in New York alone. But my brother was home while I was a little kid. And then when I was 5 years old, he got married and I was a flower girl in his wedding.
Wow.
So very close. I've grown up very close to my brother, very close to my nieces and my nephews. And I love family. I love my family.
What does Shelley do, Sheldon?
Shelley's now retired. He's
really?
He's in Florida now. He left New Jersey and they're just, relaxing, taking it easy and being part of the Florida lifestyle and a little more north inland from Palm Beach.
He'd been was it a graphic artist?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He was in advertising. I remember a time where I filled in for his secretary to take phone calls. And they up from Lexington and 40 some odd street to 57th between 6th and 7th and 6th or 6th and something. Then they moved to Madison Avenue and then he went on to other things in real estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, all successes, which is great. I'm sure your mother must have loved that.
Oh, she was very proud. My mother, though, was never one to boast. She never wanted, in the Jewish faith, we have a thing about, in Italian, it's the Malocchia.
Yeah, sure.
In Jewish, it's the Kanina Hara. So she put things out to make people jealous because she didn't want a curse coming on you. She was never a braggart. She wanted people to come tell her.
Did she give you that positive feedback? Because I know your sister has talked about that she would be like, this could be better. This could, you don't want to give somebody a swelled head.
Right. She was a big believer in not giving a swelled head.
Right.
She loved my sister and believed in my sister. I went through the same thing. When I was heavy, if I lost weight, you're too skinny. Then if I put on, don't bend down, your behind is like across. And then my mother and I would fight for the mirror when I would be putting on my albums when I was in high school, singing and acting out in the mirror. My mother, when she was available, would just float in front of me and block me from the mirror and take over. No, she would have loved to, but she was never allowed to because in those days her family, they thought it was a bum's business. And she could have been an opera singer if she had some training. My mother our mother, I should say, had a glorious soprano voice.
I remember meeting her once in Los Angeles obviously years ago. And I just found she gave off warmth. Now, again, I didn't know her from a hole in the wall, but she'd look you in the eye and she's like, so what do you do? And do you eat? And blah, blah, blah. She was very much a warm, sort of hands-on kind of person.
Yeah. And but she was critical if she thought she wanted to say, if I had a friend who was overweight, she wouldn't mince words. What are you eating that for?
There you go.
Or what else? I was just thinking of another situation. She spoke her mind, and sometimes I learned, that sometimes speaking your mind too much is not really good either. Be honest, but be careful how you word things to people. It affects them. Did
you feel that the interpretation in The Mirror Has Two Faces with Lauren Bacall, did that have any of your mother in it?
I don't know that was my mother. My mother wasn't as glamorous. She was, she worked hard all her life. She became from a regular secretary. She went to college at night when I was at school to become a school secretary to work for education. And that was in her later years. And she worked there until she retired. She was a very proud woman. I mean, she wasn't looking for handouts. She held her weight, and she took pride, but she just wasn't loud and boisterous. And, she wasn't the kind to say, look who my daughters are. She just wasn't that way. Right. She just wasn't that way.
Well, time for another surprise guest. And this is somebody who's kind of tied to you and your sister, as a matter of fact, in more recent years. Another really good friend and supporter of mine, Richard J. Alexander.
Did you get my email?
Yeah, I knew that was the first thing you were going to ask me. Speaking of light and positivity, here I am.
Oh, honey.
There you are, is right.
I'm sorry, if Michael's still watching. Michael, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hello to you, meaning Michael.
Musso.
Orlando.
Oh, Orland?
No, both of them.
Both of them.
Michael Orland I work with also. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Rob.
Hey, honey.
Good. You're looking great, Richard. I haven't seen
Thank you. I haven't been this tanned since high school.
I have,
Well,
Nothing to do.
I have that package still in my closet for you.
I know. Believe me. I know.
and
I
I
was
found
gonna
this
bring it
photo
up, but
of
I
you
thought-
guys.
This is when you wish you lived in LA.
I found this photo of you guys, and I'm just going to
did?
show it. You were celebrating 11 years on Facebook as friends
Yeah.
as of
Oh, wow.
yesterday.
Right.
That was Broadway Visits Oz when
Yes,
Roz
right.
came to New York just before her big solo show, and she came
Right.
and sang in New York. Yeah, at Joe's Pub.
Yep. I posted that yesterday on
I know. I
saw
saw
it.
and I got it. Yeah.
And of course, Richard and I were just together. What was it now? 2 months now?
It's about 2 months. Yeah.
We
Oh,
were
yeah.
at there we are at the, we're not supposed to say where we were though.
the
You're not
winter, the winter party. Well, we were at the VIP party. We
We
weren't
were at the
sweating-
VIP.
We weren't sweating anywhere on our underwear on the beach.
Well, the thing is that at the time, people didn't know really this was coming. And do you go to the party? Do you not? Richard, how are you doing? You're still in Miami, obviously.
doing
You were
as good
giving
as
out
anybody.
food to
Look,
the homeless yesterday.
I did. I'll tell you something. It was life-changing. It wasn't homeless. It was families in need. And so North Beach did a collective. And you know how the farms are throwing stuff away?
Because it's too much
So
food. Yeah.
David Richardson, who's one of the commissioners here, decided to do it in North Beach. And a friend of mine called me to volunteer. And we fed 500 families. And it was like at the beginning when the cars started coming in, because we were there a couple hours early to pack the stuff, lay it out, figure out how the cars drive by. You put the stuff in the trunk, and the cars started, and I started crying. You know, it's like,
really?
it's like, you know, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but these things make you just realize hard hitting, you know, what they got a turkey and eggs and vegetables and yogurt. And we're so grateful. And then one of the trunks I was putting stuff in, and it had a sign with a little Christmas wreath on it, said, "Thank you for your help." You know, you shouldn't talk to the people or anything. The windows have to be up. The rules are very strict. You're in your limit. So I was a mess. Then I came home and I had a total meltdown. And, you know, I've also been in a state over Nick Cordero, who I know very well. And, you know, his wife has just been heroic.
Right. Oh, unbelievable.
And, you know, last, I don't know, Kristen had a meltdown on Saturday. I had a meltdown on Sunday, screaming in the yard, you know, take me. I don't have any children. I don't have a wife who loves me. It just seems so, I mean, I was in meltdown. So between that and all the first response, you know, it's like when people say, how you doing? Like, I can't complain. And I have the water right out here and I can stretch in the yard. And, you know, I'm not in a high rise. Or some people have taught me the issue of gratitude because they don't even have the ability to be alone because they're in crowded rooms with people. So, so I'm very, very grateful. And, you know, the news drives me nuts. You know, Roz and I are on the same, well, we're all on the same page on that. But, you know, you can't talk to your friends about it because we're preaching to the choir. So, so we just got to do what we got to do in November. And that's it on that topic because I can't. I don't watch MSNBC all day like I was because it was making me sick. I have like a malaise. You wake up every day. And if I didn't get the newspaper, if I didn't get home delivery of the newspaper, I really wouldn't know what day it was. But Roz, I got your email. We'll talk. Obviously, we're to sing now. Congratulations!
I love you and I miss you.
It's just, it's crazy. But Billy, you know, every time I'm scrolling through the Facebook, I see you on air, and this is quite a thing. I mean, you're taking to it like a fish to water. You're obviously enjoying it.
Well, I should explain to people that Richard was one of my first guests. I think you were my actual first guest.
I was an accidental. I was on the couch scrolling, and I said, "Hey," and he goes, "Hey, could you be my test case?" And I'm on the couch,
exactly,
you know, Housewives or something on Bravo, no doubt.
And he's just like, "Sure, I'll test with you," and you know, because we had to figure everything out. And Richard is a director, producer, actor. He does it all. So, aside from co-producing and co-directing Barbra's tours, how did you two meet way back? Or do you go way back?
I remember when we met. Do you remember, Roz?
Yes, I do. It was with early work on Broadway. We were walking.
Oh, no, I don't think that was it. I think it was the UJA in New York City.
Oh, I think that was after we had met on the street.
Oh, do you think so?
Yeah, it was when Shelley was in New York and I was in New York, and we just came out.
That's right, because she didn't stay in New York too long. You're probably right. Yes.
Yeah. We went to see Miss Saigon.
Oh, that makes sense.
And we ran into you, and that was the first time. And then
you sang for UJA, honoring Phil Smith of the Schubert Organization. And then years went by, and we would see each other at parties, at Barbara's or birthdays or whatever. And then we started working together, and it was.
How did that come about?
I can't remember. Roz asked me. I think
we were on tour and we were out having drinks, waiting to go see a show in the Savoy.
No, it was before that. It was at a birthday when we were out on the bluff when the barn was being built.
Oh, so
or maybe the house was done. Talked about, do you think you'd ever consider working, or whatever, or I can't afford you, or it was one of those odd conversations.
I'm the one in my family that's in an actual apartment. I don't have the water, and I'm by myself.
But you got to remember that I really, I hadn't seen Roz. I had the albums actually in vinyl, and I owned them, but I hadn't seen her perform. So when we went on tour as a family. And it really was like a family. There we were going all over Europe and Canada and the United States, and Jason and Roz and Mom, and and it was pretty fantastic. And then I got to see her do her thing. You know what I mean? And I was thrilled about it because it put so many theories and rumors to rest. About the sisters. Which the rags are just too much sometimes. So, that was fantastic. And that beautiful night at the Hollywood Bowl. And, her mom became part of the show. Remember how cold it was that night, Billy?
Freezing. We were talking about it. I said to Roz earlier, I said, Barbra never took off the coat. I kept waiting to see the red dress.
Yeah.
But it was really a cold day. But I want to show, finally, people can see
orange.
the red dress.
It was
orange dress.
Oh, well,
coral. It was coral. It was deep coral.
Oh God, Bob was calling in now to correct me. Anyway, but this is a clip. I had never seen this clip before, and I want to show you'll say. Hold on.
Go.
When there are clouds in the sky, goodbye. That's the time you must keep on trying. What's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile, 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 smile. Just smile.
I mean, what an amazing moment that is.
I don't even remember. What city was that, Roz?
Israel. That was
that was in Israel?
Yeah.
Oh, Israel was amazing, Billy. I'm not Jewish, and that trip changed my life also. That was the most extraordinary event, and I'll never forget it, Roz, because remember we did the rehearsal in the afternoon, and it was boiling hot.
Yeah.
And it was the last show. We had already done one, sold out, so we were on night 2. And maybe we had a day off in between. I can't remember. And so it was the last. That was where we were ending the tour, right?
Right.
And we were at the Dan Hotel and the beaches and all those gorgeous Israeli men, and it was pretty fantastic. Anyway, yeah, they're not Jewish guys; they're Israeli men. There's a big difference. Anyway, and I remember I added 5 songs to the show.
Why wouldn't you?
Because we did this, the Perez, the Simone, what's his name?
Shimon Perez.
Shimon Perez's birthday. So we had done the TV thing already. We had done the first night of the concert, and I thought, this is it. So Billy, I had never, ever done, so, Barbara came in and she goes, 5 songs. I go, listen, we may all never see each other again. And I remember we were all there, and Jason and you, and we're down there, and one of them was Send in the Clowns. And in all my years, with Barbara, we had never done Send in the Clowns, and I was literally like sitting at her feet, and she was singing, and I was at close range like this, and I just lost it. Because, and I started crying. She goes, "You okay?" I go, "Yeah." I go, "We've never done that song," and she goes, "I love it." And so it's a thing about connecting. Raj, you were talking about this earlier. When you connect to your truth, when you sing things with purpose, it doesn't matter if critics like you or not, because that's your truth. Do you know what I'm
It's our
saying?
moment.
And it's connecting, and that's the thing. And neither of them, you know, sing anything that they're not interested in singing, or singing it because it's voguish or, you know, whatever. And sometimes your biggest hits are your least favorite. You know what I mean?
Well, you've done them to death.
that's
You can't
all-
find something.
That's all stars. Well, there's always something new to find, but that goes with everybody. It's like, oh, do I have to sing it? You know? And so I'm like, no, you don't have to, but I don't want to be around when they throw tomatoes, you know? Like,
Roz, how did the idea of singing Smile come about? Because you had done the Happy Days Are Here Again duet.
Because my
Right.
sister was doing that in the concert with her other guests before on the other tours. She did Smile. And we had done the other one, and for the European tour, we changed it to Smile. I love Smile. I love
Yeah.
it. Smile.
I forgot about it. I mean, it's really interesting, and that's not too long ago. It's like, you know.
3 years ago. And I will say publicly to Richard, thank you. Richard has always included me. I've been to the dress rehearsals. He always tries
The
to
dress
get me-
rehearsals for only our closest friends.
Well, but it's the the closest friends. The Staples Center was packed, and it's a family
really-
and friends. I think
What
it's
you
called.
learn in those things, though, is extraordinary. What you actually learn, and that's a very famous one. You're talking about the one in LA, right? The
Yeah,
big one?
right. I didn't go to the Philly one. I knew the
Yeah,
was the
and
one
I
in
lied
Philly.
to everybody from the stage. I told a fib. And I
Which
told
one?
everybody that we had plainclothes people among them, so that I didn't want anybody to take out their phones or they would be whisked out. And I just made it up. I just made it up out of my mind, because you don't want song leakage. You don't want
Right.
anybody to know, you know, what you're doing. You got to do your work. Listen, we need rehearsal too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you work in a vacuum. Do you know what I mean? Roz, even when we went to Europe, or, you know, what song would Jason sing tonight or stuff, you want to leave freedom for everybody. And of
Right.
course, you've got a general shape that works. But it's, you know, the thing about everybody that, you know, in the family, and everybody that I work with in general, everybody cares a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm, of
When
course.
you care, it matters. You're not arguing. You're actually just trying to get to the core of the, you know, the truth and what you want to do and what's best. And to do that, you have to examine everything. You have to examine everything. You know, you drop numbers, you put numbers in, you do this. Gee, why didn't we think of that before? It's so obvious, but you don't know till you live it. And maybe you're 5 cities in, or, you know, I've had people mad at me because certain songs weren't in a city, and then they go a hate on you, but they don't understand how it breathes also.
Right,
You know?
of course.
And then something happens in the news. I mean, it's very interesting. You know, we're coming up on the anniversary to Pulse, you know, in Orlando.
Of course.
For me, and, you know, for any of us who are Broadway driven, you know, we'll never forget that happened the night before the Tonys. And so the whole culture, the whole temperature of the award show changed. And that's where Love is Love is Love was born.
Right.
So you can't just be locked. You've got to see what's coming in, you know. So Roz, all the love and all the stuff that, you know, you and Michael were talking about. And by the way, no back phrasing. No back never.
There are so many people who are anti-back
Back phrase once in a while for me, but no back phrasing.
Well, I'm not putting Marilyn May on here because she's usually a measure behind. So
It's you know, it's a gift. What can
it's
I tell
a
you?
style. I
And,
know.
but working with Roz was great because so many dreams came true. Like, you know, you do something like she was doing all that jazz, and I was sort of hating it. This is a true story.
True.
And I went to see her like in the condo circuit or somewhere. Where were you, Roz? Somewhere here in
The
Florida.
condo circuit.
It was a radio station sponsored thing. At a
Yeah.
theater.
So I went and saw it, and I'm like this, oh, you know, and I'm just about to start working with her. So I tell her, you know, because I don't mince words either, you know.
No, you
And I
do
go, I
not.
hate it, you know. But then, you know, these things happen, and I wake up and I go, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. We make fun of it. You know what I mean? And blah, blah, blah. And talk about, you know, every time I come to New York, I see that, you know, what, they don't have my phone number. Everybody's been on that show. You know what I mean? It's
Right, exactly.
Vamp, you know, no. And of course, she went to Luigi for all those years. So I put that to work. And then I gave her a little hat and the whole thing, and she went to town. And then all of a sudden, it was like a whole different number, just because it had a point
Because
of
you
view.
had the framework, right?
Yeah, and of course she was terrified because we come from very different skill sets. Do you know what I'm saying? But the point is, why would I mess somebody up? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm there for them to be the best. And then we had Alex Rybeck, who turned out to just be the right guy, because he has drawers full of music and songs, and he had a Burt Bacharach treasure. And so Roz started mining deep, and then we realized, you know, everything old is new again, and we went back to the records. And, you know, Roz, tell the story, because I don't know if Billy knows this, that Cher did The Way of Love.
Right.
Have different lyrics for the same song. Tell that story, because when I heard Roz's album, it's clearly Cher's song, The Way of Love, but it's all new words and it's redone. Tell the audience that, and tell Billy.
I listened to The Way of Love when RCA presented it to me, and I thought the lyrics were trite. I was a kid, but
really?
I knew they were trite. They weren't enough for me.
What do you mean? The Way of Love.
they rewrote the lyrics to "Can You Stop the Rain?"
Mm-hmm.
And while I was in the studio,
but it's the same melody,
right? The same exact melody. But while I was in the studio recording it, they suddenly changed it to "Can I?" And I had to "Can you? Can you? Can you?" is in my head. So
have you heard it, Billy? It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is great.
But it's the same melody. But that's what was going on. So people adapted it. I'm going to give this to this singer, you know, and that's what was going on in the recording business. And it's sort of fantastic. And you don't see songs reborn again. And Roz, we never got to put that in the show, and we have to, because that's a great story.
We got to start working on the next tour. And I want some of the new stuff. You know, I played it for Alex when we were in Florida. He flipped over Stefan's arrangements. Flipped, and they both so complimentary to each other.
Yeah. She's been working with the same producer that did Jason's record, and the results are quite
great,
incredible.
Right?
Stefan Oberhoff.
I mean, Jason is a miracle vocally. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I have a theory.
Absolutely.
I just have a theory. Tell me what you think of this, Billy and Roz. I don't know if we've discussed this, but when your mom was pregnant with both you and Barbara and Sheldon, like, does Sheldon sing, just out of curiosity?
No.
Not at all? Like, doesn't even have a tone? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Not even a happy birthday on Pid?
Tried.
I mean, I've never asked him.
Happy birthday to me on the phone and left me messages.
And are they nice sounding? Do you hear a voice?
They're not bad, but, you know, it's not.
Because
you wouldn't pull him in the studio.
My theory is this, that, you know, when the baby's inside, the vibration, like the mom sang, right? Barbara and Roz's mother sang. And I feel like the vibrations tune the ears. So when you listen to Jason and you listen to where his ear goes, because he has very unique ears also, he hears very interesting harmonics and things like that. And the thing that's great about working with singers like this is you never know if they're going to go right or left. Yes, there's a framework, but there's always a new pathway in. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's always a nice surprise, you know, because I don't like to know where I'm headed exactly always.
Well, what I love about Roz, you know, people will talk about the similarity between your voice and Barbara's, and there is a timbre similarity. But what I love is you and your sister and your nephew listen to words, you connect with lyrics, and there is this phrasing that, again, I think that's not so much genetic or taught, it's osmosis. I think that you're around
it's having a voice, but the voice
and a point of view, which most people do not have.
It's a 3-act play. A song is a 3-act play.
Right, and I think you connect with the lyric in a way that they do.
Yeah.
But it was funny at the beginning of Smile, you and Barbara were talking, and the first thing I thought of was the sadness that I know it was, at least Roz, I don't know about Barbara, but I know Roz, it was you had said it was your mother's dream to see her daughter singing together on stage at some point.
And did she never sing together?
Did she ever hear us sing together? I don't know. Maybe when we were kids and Barbara taught me how to harmonize on Row, Row, or whatever. It was a time when Barbara had left home and we were visiting her in Manhattan in her little apartment. She had a reel-to-reel, and we were singing, Mom, Barbara, and I was a kid. I mean, I was in Hebrew school. We played, and they did a comparison of mother and daughter voices between my mother and my sister. We played on the piano. I sang songs from school like Zoom Golly 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 Zoom Golly Golly, or you know.
Where is that tape? Who's got it?
Yeah,
I think my sister has it somewhere in the archives.
Richard, go in the basement.
No, I'll find out. Iron Mountain. I'll find out from.
And then I did, don't throw bouquets at me, and my sister was going la 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 la.
because we played part of your mother in the tour.
That's
right?
what I was getting to,
Right.
is that she was kind of part of this and seeing
That was
it, and
very
that's what I
beautiful.
love.
And I remember in rehearsal, I remember Barbara's pride explaining to me, you know, because that's when you sort of do all your homework and you're talking, you're communicating, or watching all the black and white footage of Swan Lake, you know, filming. You're like,
Oh God, that footage
I've
was
seen
great.
so much stuff, you know. And but to get the backstory authentically, you know, free form with no dialogue format is pretty amazing. But your mother, there was that movie that Jason made.
Yes.
He made a movie with Elliot and your mom.
Yes.
And also your mom taking you to record your song in the studio. And I remember, and she was a little rough around the edges.
She was a little.
She was a little. She probably said no back phrasing too.
Do you think Roz, as the youngest,
that one wasn't Jason. That one was Phil, my brother, put together.
No, I know.
Oh.
Two different things. I jumped
Right.
from one film to the other. It's just that I got to watch all that stuff during
Right.
that's when it was the Brooklyn people talking about her.
oh
and,
yeah, right.
and all that, you know, because we were analyzing
Neighborhood stuff.
So I get to see everything, and then we sit there, and Barbara and I create, you know, just the narrative of how we're going to put it together and stuff like that. And it's interesting, but the stories are so fantastical. And you know, you guys grew up in a time, you know, like even listening to you say today, you know, my mother and I went to visit her in Manhattan. It's like Oz.
Right. Well, sure.
Oz. It was unattainable. Or you know, my daughter, you know, living alone in Manhattan. It's
Sleeping on sofas in millions of offices.
Yeah.
fantastic.
It was a small beginning, but yeah, then she was living over Oscar's, the fish restaurant.
Right. And yet those are the
Then she
things you
moved to
do.
Central Park West when she was with Elliot. Yeah,
But, you know, the fact that Roz played the Plaza, or Roz, did you play the Playboy Club? I can't remember.
I did. I played the Playboy
This is
Club.
like,
and
I was just a little too late. You know, I was a little too
Me
young
too.
still
Right.
to be in New York because I'm 10 years behind everybody just in the movement. But, you know, I used to travel through After Dark magazine, all those glamorous ads and the Bushes and Linda Gerard. And, you know, and so by the time I came, I knew everything. You know what I mean? But to have played those places, what was the room called at the Plaza?
The Persian room.
When I played it was called Laney's Room.
Oh.
No, the Playboy Club was Laney's. The Persian room.
Persian
The Persian room. Oh, that's what it was called. The Persian room.
Right.
The Persian room. I mean,
Why
it's
do I know this?
glamorous. It makes me want to go put my pants on.
Richard, don't you dare. Richard, I love you. I could talk to you forever, but I gotta wrap up.
So sweet. I wanted to be a good surprise for Rosie, but I love Michael Musto. I'm such a fan. I've known him my whole life and career. I've seen him sing. And the last time I saw him, I think was when we all went to see Michael Urie and Torch Song Trilogy, and we all went to West Bank Cafe for steaks and dark alcohol, and we got trashed. You know what I mean?
We'll have you back when Michael Urie's on. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
After a show and everything, we always let our hair down.
Well, that's the thing. And I think also with this group, you all know each other. There is a love. And whether you're in the same business, like if one's a performer, one's a director, one's a writer, you're all part of the same thing.
We also get to see the world in a very unique way. Like for me, one of the highlights of my entire adult life will be Roz when we were all in Amsterdam. So we got to go to Anne Frank's house with nobody else there.
Wow.
Right? And we actually got to go up.
And the Rijksmuseum also.
In the attic. We got to go up in the attic, up, you know, the people don't get to go up the ladder. So if you've read those diaries, and of course, Barbara loves them so much, and it's the first place she ever saw, it's that thing about, you know, opening the window and smelling, and like we were in that room. Remember, Roz, we had a flashlight and we were reading out of the diaries, and everybody was holding hands. That was very, very exciting. Or going to the museum, you know, that was close. So you get to see.
You're so lucky. We are all so lucky.
Listen, I feel that. I feel very privileged, and I feel very grateful because, you know, we see things in a very special way, but we've seen the world together. But, you know, we've also gotten messed up together, too.
Well, why not?
After hours Amsterdam, us going through the streets. I'll never forget it, Roz.
Oh, my God. You took Jason and I out to the Red Zone.
Should we go in? Should we go in? Should we not go in? Should we go in? Oh my God, what if somebody finds out? What is TMZ over here? Like, what?
I think if of the three of you, I think Roz was the first one to go in and Jason was the most nervous. Am I right?
I don't know.
No.
Listen, and Barbara's an adventurer too. We love a good adventure.
Oh,
We love a good adventure, and we all love to eat.
well, that's true.
We've eaten our way across the globe, and so it's and Barbara just had a birthday. Obviously,
yes, we did. We zoomed it. We did a Zoom birthday.
Oh, did
we
you?
did a Zoom birthday.
Yeah.
Today we all, Sis
Oh,
Corman
sis,
passed away.
no.
Sis Corman.
I heard that yesterday.
I know, and I
Yeah.
woke up to all of that, and of course they were best friends. And I
Right.
wrote to Barbara
For
because,
years.
so many years have passed. But when I was in Amadeus as an actor, Amy Irving came to the show one night, and she goes, "Oh, I turned down some Jewish thing today from Barbra Streisand." I go, "What Jewish thing?" And she goes, "Something called Yentl." I go, "Yentl, the yeshiva boy, the play by Isaac Bashevis Singer?" I said, "Are you nuts?" I said, "You go read for that," and she did, and blah blah. Anyway, Barbara and Sis came to see Amadeus. I was an actor then, and Amy and I were becoming very, very good friends. And Sis and Barbara took Amy and I to Orso for dinner, and of course, I was frozen, like I don't think I said a peep, but of course I knew Sis from all the great films she had cast, and then also she was in a partnership with your sister now. But it's so sad. I mean, listen, she lived a long life. That's not the point, but it makes it even
That's the same age my mom passed, 93.
Yeah, but, and you can say they had a good run, but like when my parents passed away in their 90s, I say, you don't understand. It makes it worse because I had them longer. So no two people grieve the same. But when I read that today, it would knock my breath out a little bit because they had a sisterhood, not just a friendship.
They went way back. I think they met in an acting workshop.
They did. That's absolutely right.
And they did something called The Greek Tragedy in an off-Broadway theater that they were both in or something. I was a little kid. I was like,
Yeah.
Because even with wholesale,
but you obviously admired your sister, and you were taking notes, and just because you need, like, you see something moving forward, and it's like people say, I never saw myself on television. Once you see something, once you get bit by the bug, that's the greatest thing.
Having my sister who accomplished that gave me confidence that I could get what I would love to do. Being a math teacher.
And these days, everybody goes, "Do you have any advice?" There's no easy way, and with YouTube and contests and the whole thing. But the point is this: I always say no. I have no advice, because my grandchild's so talented. Not so much, but I'm not getting into that conversation. But the real issue is if they want it,
they're willing to do the work.
Nothing's going to stop them, but nobody's giving away anything. And, back when I went into the business, Roz, which was even just a little later than you, there were hundreds of us. Now there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. I don't know if I would have a career today if I came into the business. I don't know.
No.
Right.
It's very hard. It's not an easy road unless the thing that got easier for some people were the fact that like Idol or whatever, they put people on TV already. They found people. The ones that got through it got a big break, which we had.
Then they have to follow it up.
But name me some winners with recording contracts.
Right,
and
exactly.
Kelly Clarkson. Look at Justin Guarini, how much we all loved him. I'm thrilled that he works in the theater, and I think he's talented.
Right.
But it doesn't happen like before, and that's why these. I always say that Barbara is Broadway's greatest export. There will never be another career like that with those kinds of achievements.
Well, that's true.
But to know this family together is a remarkable thing. And we've all had many, many joyous occasions. Do you know what I mean? And I love Jim, and I love Marty, and I love all these people. And, I've been part of it like for 20 years now, even though we met in 93 officially. But it's just remarkable. And you don't pinch yourself. What you have to do is you have to be present, consistent, and deliver. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters. I don't want to be anybody's best friend. I want to be effective. You know what I'm saying? But it's a gift to work with such talented people, and I'm very grateful.
Well, Richard, thank you for joining us. We love you. We really
I'm very happy. Thank you for having me.
Please.
Now
Take care.
I'm going to go put my pants on and walk the dog.
I will talk to you soon. Thank you, Richard. Richard Alexander. Thank you, guys. Roslyn. Okay, so there you go. I think that's all the surprises we have. Oh, wait, no, there's Barbara. No, she's not. But because I'd have to paint everything white. No, I can't do it. But no, there's something that I didn't talk to you about, and I guess I did not know this, but you were very close to one of my heroes, and that's Randy Stone.
Oh, we're very close. I was married to Randy.
You were married to Randy Stone. Now, for people who don't know, Randy Stone was a casting director. He was a producer. He had produced the short film, which was Trevor, which spawned the Trevor Project, which is an organization that I know we both support and honor, which helps not just gay, but suicide prevention. And but you and Randy was ultimately a gay man, but you were married to him.
He didn't know when I married him. He didn't know.
Right, and obviously you didn't know either.
I was a very sheltered person. I never had a wild life, so to me, I liked the youth. Randy was 7.5 years younger than me, but you'd never know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
You would never know it. I remember my father-in-law saying to me, he said, Randy thinks you're so perfect. I said, Dad, I'm far from perfect. I may be a few years ahead of him learning and being out there, but I'm not perfect. And he was like asking me to be a little less perfect. I said, I can't deny the lessons I've already had in life. I can be there for him when he crosses that bridge. But I looked at him like an equal.
Really?
You know, I felt as young as him because I really was not a wild person, even when I was in show business. So I always somebody with me. I never really went to, I never got into the drinking, the drug, never.
Right.
That wasn't my thing. And I stayed pretty sheltered, when I would work. And I remember one incident when I was at the Shoreham Hotel working the new show that we were going to bring to the Plaza. That somebody followed us into the hotel and followed us up to the room and tried to open the door because my manager's wife had the room next to me and they tried to we switched rooms because, you're not supposed to go through to me to protect because I was a kid.
Right, of course, yeah.
And this gentleman one night followed us in after the show and tried to open the door. We called the hotel, whatever. The next day they were fumigating his room. He had retracted that and left his bill to me saying my relative. So there are wackos out there is my point,
Right. But
you have
I had Fran Drescher and her ex-husband, Peter Mark Jacobson, as of course you know, because you were on The Nanny. And so we talked about, Peter's journey of coming out and how it was hard for them to stay friends at first, and then they found their way back. How did that work for you and Randy?
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Let me
show people a picture just in case they don't know. There you are.
Yeah.
With Randy, who was also very close with Jodie Foster and directed.
That came later. That's what he did. He did Little Man Tate.
Right.
There was a guy that when he was working for Alan Landsberg in casting, he discovered one of the runners there who was a writer, and he was writing the script and he showed it to Randy, and Randy, up till the day through our getting married, he was working on this script with him.
Wow.
And it turned into Little Man Tate, who then they met Jodie and she got involved and everything.
But how was your relationship? Were you able to stay close after you divorced?
We were apart for a while, and Randy told me a story about he thought he saw me walking in Beverly Hills and he almost got into a car accident.
Really?
Yeah. But when there was a love, I mean, we always loved each other. We probably never should have been married, but I was actually 32 when I married Randy. He was just
wow, you look so young.
Huh?
You look so young there.
But I felt like I was really his age because how sheltered I had been. I didn't.
Sure.
And so I mean, we some things he did were young and then I noticed certain things in his behavior that I was questioning. But when we first got together, he had friends that said, "I've never seen you so happy." And I think maybe he thought this was his answer of the question I really wasn't aware of.
Right.
Because I took him as young and innocent, not gay.
Did you help him through that process, or did he come to it on his own? How did that work?
He came to it on his own, but it is what inevitably broke us up.
Sure.
And we were apart, but we came together again. It was so weird, and because he always loved me, And he said to me, one of the last things he wrote to me was, I'm so sorry I could never be for you what you needed me to be.
That's beautiful.
You know,
But and I will say, because I thought of him when I was doing the research for this, I found something he had written as well. An unauthorized biography of your sister had come out, and they said, you know, they regurgitate a lot of these rumors that aren't true, that
about
she
our
had
wedding,
wedding and all this stuff, and which obviously will set the record straight. She was doing post-production for Yentl in England, and she was willing to shut it down to come to your wedding, and the two of you.
It was too much trouble. It was too much trouble. I wanted her to be my maid of honor. You
did. And Randy had written something after the book came out, and I just want to read it very briefly. He mentions, on the day of our wedding, she called every few hours to make sure everything was perfect for us, and she had assistants taking photos of us so they could be shipped to London overnight so she could see them immediately. Imagine how the world has changed. But he said, when I think of Barbra, the thing that comes to mind is that every time I spent with her, she never talked about herself. She seemed so interested in every detail of my life and made me feel everything I told her fascinated her. Since I was in my early 20s, I hardly believed that what I had to say was very interesting. I do believe she went out of her way to make sure I felt accepted and cared about. She was a great sister-in-law. So I think that it speaks very highly of him that even years later, that was his takeaway.
Yeah, and and she would have talks with him too, because she wanted to make sure that I was in the right relationship.
Sure, she was protecting her baby sister. But I didn't know any of this. It was so interesting. I don't know if it's if people know. I don't think he gets enough credit because he was an extraordinary man.
You know what? He had a great heart. He was great to actors. He was a casting director, and he was wonderful to actors. Really wonderful. And I remember once going to one of the showcases he did, and some of the kids came up to me and said, "Boy, you're lucky. You probably get all the work you want." I said, "Really? You think that works for me?" That never has worked for me. Anyway,
I was just going to say, you're surrounded by people.
I mean, I did do 5 episodes of Give Me a Break, and they were all different roles, but that's because they liked what I did the first time. So it's like, but it wasn't really where I was favored.
No, and I think, but I think with somebody like Randy, what I find fascinating is that, he grew up straight or conflicted, married you, divorced, came into his own, and then gave back to help others, to start this suicide prevention line, because maybe that could have been him.
Yeah. And he had some things in his family where he dealt with other members of his family, another member of his family.
Oh, wow.
So he had some hurts in that area on his emotions.
Wow. It's a I think there's a really fascinating story there. But since you talked about acting, we'll just bring it back up, because I found a clip. You had done a pilot, which wasn't picked up, with Shelley Long and somebody who I loved, Gretchen Weiler.
Yeah, I loved her. She was terrific.
But this is just a little clip from, what was it, Ghost of a Chance?
Ghost of a Chance with Stephen Keats, and oh my God, yeah.
Okay, well, I just want people to see the timing is impeccable.
I am so confused. Let's talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. I am madly in love with 2 men. No offense, but does one of them happen to be the man you're going to marry? Of course, Wayne. And Tom. Jenny, let me see. How can I put this? Jenny, Tom is seriously deceased. But I can't seem to forget him. Nobody wants you to forget him. What you have to do is remember him a whole lot less. I must be feeling better. That makes sense. Good. Okay. Then let's go. All right. Oh, un momento. Do you really want this picture of Tom here when you get back? Finished.
I think it's great. The timing, the chemistry. I mean, you were so wonderful in that.
I loved it. I lost 2 clothing sizes between Monday and tape day.
Really?
high my adrenaline was. I really wanted to have a television series. I still would take one. I would love one.
I remembered you from The Nanny, as we mentioned, when Fran comes up. Same DNA, same DNA. But so we have a couple more quick questions. Okay, let's see what we got here. Well, here's one that's really interesting. I don't know. I love the song "What Has Love Done to Me." Can Roz sing a bit?
What love has done.
Okay. Can you sing a little bit? Do you mind?
20,000 times. There's so much that I've never seen before. Taking in the colors of a brand new morning sky. Opening my heart to so much more. Love is like a light shining through the darkest night. It isn't that the world has changed, it's me. Nothing short of a miracle could have taught these eyes to see that the smallest things that a moment brings are the very special. Oh God, I forgot the words. I'm about forgetting. The very thing. So sorry, folks.
That's all right. You did a lot of it. I mean, we're throwing stuff at you.
It's a song by Gloria Sklarov and Michelle Weiss.
And I remember you used to do the Ann Hampton Calloway song. Was it Old Friend?
Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Yes, perfect.
The perfect sunrise in the morning, the birth of gold and crimson on the sea. I've walked the perfect night. You're going to put me on again.
I'm putting you on again. Be quiet. Look, when I get you to sing, I'm taking it. Well, and then also it's funny because people got to hear Barbra was so identified with Marilyn and the Bergmans. Alan Bergman, thank you. I forgot a name. And then we got to hear you sing the song Can You Read My Mind, right?
Well,
was that them too?
That was Leslie Brickus.
Oh, wait, what was the song of the Bergmans?
How do you keep the music playing?
Yes. Which Barbra had not done.
I did that on last year's Daytime Emmys with a little lyric. I did the In Memoriam on the Emmys, the Daytime Emmys.
Did you have a relationship with the Bergmans?
We're all they're like extended family to us. Okay. We spend all the Jewish holidays, the Passover and the high holy days, and we break fast on Yom Kippur. They're wonderful. They're lovely. And the daughter Julie and their granddaughter Emily. And no, it's like an extended family.
What I love is that during this, I think that you really shown people, again, I know because I have spent time with you. I remember we went to see, I don't know if you remember, we saw the revival of The Boys in the Band at the Coast Playhouse on Santa Monica Boulevard. Do you remember that?
I do.
And you had been to the original production.
Yeah.
So you were talking to me.
It was at the Coast in
West, the Coast. Yep. Right. And spending time with you, what I love is that, again, you were so open, you were so filled with joy and love and light, and you exude that. And I just wanted people to see that part of you because I think it's very special.
Oh, thank you, Billy. Thank you. I would love everybody to have that coming from inside them.
Well, look, this is what we're doing here. We're just trying to connect with people and make their day a little brighter. So, Roz, I just want to thank you for doing this. This was so much fun. We went so long, but it's so worth it. I could talk to you for another 5 hours.
Oh, gosh. Well, we'll have to do it again.
We will. And who knows?
Everybody out of the woodwork.
Right. Who knows what other surprise guests I'll come up with. This is your life, Roslyn Kind.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like.
Oh, but thank you for doing this. I love you for doing it. Please stay safe. Get out. Try to get some air and just keep social distancing, and we will endure.
It's so scary because I'm in that age bracket that it's scary. I don't know. I think we would have been in a different world had somebody been in the leadership role in that house, where.
Yeah, I think, and if somebody had thought about it maybe a little earlier.
Well, I think it was thought of, but nothing was acted upon.
No. Yeah, I think
You
you're
know,
absolutely
and
right.
it's just a whole bunch of things. And I just pray that we have a leadership that comes into being, that care about the people, that hurt when you hurt, that can express that empathy, that have compassion, knowledge, intelligence, know what they're doing. Bright, intelligent, eloquent people.
And the way to do that is get out and vote in November, please.
That's right. Everybody get out and vote. Vote for the
However, we don't know how to vote, but
Huh?
we don't know how we're going to vote, if it's going to
No,
be
but
mail
vote
or whatever,
whoever
but vote.
stands for you. Who's
Right.
going to be there for you, the everyday guy? We're all everyday people. Who's going to be there for us?
And if you don't vote, you have absolutely no right to complain because
That's
it's on you. We get the
Yes.
people we deserve. And if you don't vote, that's what you deserve. So get out.
Yeah, we must. Everybody has to vote. I don't care if you do it by mail. They're going to hopefully make it easier this year, as long
I
as
hope so.
his face doesn't end the post office. Yeah, you just got to really, really stay on top of it and become involved. I was never really involved in this until 2016, when I was afraid of what would happen. I left it all to my sister.
There you go.
I never got involved in it. But 2016 election was just too dangerous. And look where we are today. Look where we're at. So I hope
We're at home. We're hugging via the computer, but
I just pray that God helps us all, comes to our hearts, and we elect who will be there for you, honestly. Who will make it better for the people and for the country and save the earth.
And for the children and the children's
future
children. Because
generations.
it's not for us.
For the
We're going to be fine.
Listen, God gave us dominion over the animals and over the earth. We're supposed to be taking care of it, not destroying it.
Right. Dominion doesn't mean taking it down. It means embracing it and looking out for it.
Exactly.
Roz, where can people go? The website is Roslyn, Roslyn Kind.com.
Correct. And on Facebook.
Facebook.
And
yep,
also,
she has a fan page.
Yeah, my fan page at Facebook. And
there are songs on YouTube. Please go check them out. I mean, the songs here too. But.
Yes, and go to they're digitally across the boards released. The two.
And you're still recording music, which I love, and you're still releasing music, which is what we need.
Working at it.
I know. Thank you so much. God bless you, Rosie.
Same to you, Billy. Goodbye, everybody. God bless one and all. Be safe, stay well.
Love you. Bye, sweetheart. Thank you all for watching. I know I keep going long, people. We will be back on Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, 3 p.m. till whenever. Take care of yourselves. Have a good weekend. Please be kind, be safe, and God bless. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, hold on. I can't say goodbye because I don't have my music. Hold on. Okay. Bye.